एकम अक्षरं हृदि निरन्तरं भासते स्वयं लिख्यते कथम् हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहम् इति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वम् चिन्वता मज्जता पवनचलनरूपा आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम् देहं मृण्मयवत् जडात्मकम् अहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तत भावशुद्धिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भाव कोऽहं भावयुतः कुतो रतिः दृष्टात्मनिष्ठात्मना सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं. Namo Ramana. In this, the Thursday Satsang from Ramana Maharshi Center for Learning, it has been our practice to read from Guruvachaka Kovai, the work by Muruganar Swamigal. We read 2 verses from the work selected for us. Each verse reading is immediately followed by a short meditation on its meaning, and that is followed by the practice of Atma Vicharam, self-enquiry, for about 10 minutes. After these 2 segments of verse reading, meditation on its meaning, and the abhyasa, the practice, are completed, after these 2 segments are completed, there will be summing up remarks by Shri Venkatesh Deshpande ji, and that shall be followed by the offering of Sri Ramanastotram. The chanting will be by Vaibhav ji and Prarthanama online, and the floral offerings shall be by Manjunath ji from right here. We commence the satsang by going to the first verse selected for us verse number 332. This verse is in the segment investigation into truth. The other two segments that follow are meditation on the truth and experience of the truth. Something similar to Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Verse number 332, we find in the subsegment, the 58 subsegment under investigation into truth, association with sadhus. Association with sadhus, verse number 332. This is followed by a note by Muruganar Swamigal and quotes from Padamalai and Day by Day with Bhagavan. The verse goes like this. Those who have realized the truth are alone the possessors of faultless virtues. Apart from these, everyone else is only base of nature. Hence, he who longs for the fortune of liberation must redeem himself only by resorting to those aforementioned meritorious ones who shine as reality through the knowledge of reality that is devoid of the world delusion. Those who have realized the truth are alone the possessors of faultless virtues. Apart from these, everyone else is only base of nature. Hence, he who longs for the fortune of liberation must redeem himself only by resorting to those aforementioned meritorious ones who shine as reality through the knowledge of reality that is devoid of the world delusion. There is a note by the authors. Bhagavan slightly amended Muruganar's original verse, which read, only true jnanis are the possessors of the faultless virtue of truth. The word translated as truth could also mean great generosity. Only those who have realized the truth is the phrase used here. Muruganar, all the rare virtues automatically seek and reach those who have realized the truth through purity of mind. Hence, in order to emphasize that only they deserve to be called virtuous, who are naturally replete with all the noble traits, it has been said, those who have realized the truth are alone the possessors of faultless virtues. In those people who do not have true jnana, even though they may be extremely virtuous in external conduct they observe, the ego that is the source of all evil traits remains in their hearts without perishing. Therefore, it was said, everyone else is only base of nature. While all other things may be obtained from these unenlightened people, the knowledge of reality, that which bestows the bliss of peace, the redemption that is free of the mind, can only be obtained from these meritorious ones. Those who are fit to be accepted as gurus have thus been indicated. There is a quote from Padamalai. Humility and self-restraint are the marks of those transformed and radiant beings who embody the quality of virtue. There is a quote from Day by Day. All good or daivic qualities are included in jnana, and all bad asuric qualities are included in ajnana. When jnana comes, all ajnana goes, and all the daivic qualities come automatically. If a man is a jnani, he cannot utter a lie or do anything wrong. It is no doubt said in some books that one should cultivate one quality after another and thus prepare for ultimate moksha. But for those who follow jnana or vichara marga, the path of self-enquiry, their sadhana is itself quite enough for acquiring all the Daivic qualities. They need not do anything else. So that is quite a comprehensive set of notes for the verse. Let's go back to the verse. Those who have realized the truth, that is, those who have completely demolished the I and mine. The ego is no more there. There is no division in that consciousness. The consciousness is true existence. The true existence is always conscious of itself. That is the nature of the jnani. Only they have all the faultless virtues, compassion, then humility that has been mentioned here, the self-restraint, patience, taluvike, all these are the virtues that we look for, and earlier we would like to cultivate them in practice in society. We would practice self-restraint. When our mind wants to rush out and shout at the person who has triggered something in us, there is a effort given to restrain ourselves. Obviously, this is not the way to behave. If we go abroad to Western countries, and nowadays in India too, the raising of voice is considered to be uncultured. That means the unnecessary raising of voice in a conversation with each other. So that involves some self-restraint. But here, all the good qualities, all the virtues automatically come to the one who is egoless, automatically come to that place. All the Kalyana Gunas are present in the Atman. So the one to look out for is one who is the jnani, who is having completely erased the ego and has merged in the self. Such a one is the possessor of all faultless virtues. Apart from these, that means apart from those who have completely erased their separateness, all others have considered to be only base. That because the ego is still there, someone may be practicing the humble behavior. They may be practicing the cultured behavior of soft talking. But at some point, the ego will claim that and will automatically bring that element of the possessorship, which limits that, which limits the humility or which limits that virtue. So obviously, the presence of the ego is to be considered as the presence of all the faults. The removal of the ego is to be considered as the possessing of all the virtues without possessing them, without aiming to possess them. They automatically come. All the good in that undivided self, the compassion is automatic. In Tamil, there is a saying, Udukai ilandavan kaipole, aange idukkan kalaivadam nattu. That when the dress slips, how quickly the hands go to readjust them. Does the hand say, oh, what should I do? This is in trouble now. Oh, will it cost me something? Will it be appropriate to act? No doubts. The hands go automatically. That is how such a one comes. The kindness is spontaneous. And Ganapati Muni says that Karuna is not a guna. Na Karuna guna stava vidampate hridaya tejasaha sahaja vaivate. That is the hridaya tejas, the I, this Purana, the sannidhi of that is absolute compassion, is unconditional love. It does not differentiate between the good person and the bad person. It does not have the division. In fact, it does not have the division of you and I, the witnesser and the witnessed, there is absolutely no division in that consciousness. So that undivided, unconditioned consciousness, which is absolutely unconditional love, that is the possessor of all faultless virtues. So such is the one to associate with. Such is the sadhana one should undertake. That what is the method to have all these kalyana gunas? Not by acquiring them with the ego and calculating how much of sadhana you have done. Oh, I have done so many crores of japas. No, that may be there for just for calculation, but it is of no worth, because ultimately that ego has to surrender. Somebody else has made you do it. Then where is the point of saying I have done that? So to erase the ego, that is to do self-enquiry, is the automatic bringing in of all the faultless virtues. That is why the day by day is quoted, where it is said that the one pursuing self-enquiry need not and cannot gather virtuous behavior. If he does that, that from here on I should behave like this, that will get washed off in self-enquiry. For whom is this thought that here on I will behave like this? To me. Who am I? That I is beyond time and space. Now, how to fix up a sadhana in time to acquire a virtue gradually? Absolutely not possible. Therefore, to such a one, the sadhana of self-enquiry itself is enough, says day by day with Bhagwan. So, that is the true person to associate with. You yourself, beyond the ego, is the person to associate. That person need not be searched for outside. Oh, who is this person who has erased the ego? We need not look for that person outside. That person is best observed inside by erasing one's own separation, one's own separate identity, by inquiring for whom is this thought of searching for the virtuous person outside. To me, who am I? That is going beyond the ego. One more knock at that ego, one more chipping away of the ego. That is the only thing to be done, says Devaraj Mudaliar in Day by Day, as instructed by Bhagavan. So that's what we are going to do for the next 10 minutes. Just be that faultless, unconditioned, undivided existence consciousness by removing the I and mind. The mind is the thought. For whom is this thought? To me. Who am I? Stills the I. Let us sit in Atma Uchara for the next 10 minutes. Ujjwalji will be able to help us out.
Yes, uncle, I'll do that.
Thank you. Namo Ramana. We continue the satsang by taking up the second verse selected for us, 1016. This is in the segment Experience of the Truth. The subsegment is Chitrambalam, the subtle space of consciousness. Chidambaram, Chitrambalam, the subtle space of consciousness. 1016. The subtle space of consciousness exists and shines everywhere as the self. The subtle space of consciousness exists and shines everywhere as the self. To wander searching for it hither and thither, using the power of feeble intellect that suffers from the flaw of inconstancy, is like searching for the brilliant sun in broad daylight with a flaming torch. The subtle space of consciousness exists and shines everywhere as the self. To wander searching for it hither and thither, here and there, using the power of the feeble intellect that suffers from the flaw of inconstancy, is like searching for the brilliant sun in broad daylight with a flaming torch. There is a note from Day by Day with Bhagavan. To see an object that is in the dark, both eye and the light of a lamp are required. To see the light only, the eye is enough. To see an object that is in the dark, both the eye and the light of a lamp are required. To see the light only, the eye is enough. To see the sun, there is no need for any other light. Even if you take the lamp with you, its light will be drowned in the light of the sun. Our intellect or buddhi is of no use to realize the self. To see the world or external objects, the mind and the reflected light, Chidabhasa, which always arises with it, are necessary. To see the world or external objects, the mind and the reflected light or Chidabhasa, which always arises with it, are necessary. To see the self, the mind has simply to be turned inside, and there is no need of the reflected light. So here, the Chidabhasa, the reflected light, the ego, along with its instrument, the intellect, are called to be the torch held in hand, and to see the self, they are not required. Just like to see the sun in broad daylight, the torch in hand is not required. The eye thought and the intellect are useless. Then what is it to see that subtle space of consciousness? The subtle space of consciousness exists and shines everywhere, everywhere. That means you need not move. That's why this pilgrimage in Atma Vichara is not in space. It's not from moving from Padmanabhanagar to some other place and then realizing. No. The subtle space of consciousness is not from hither and thither. As well, though not mentioned in this verse directly, it is not from time to time that now I am like this, tomorrow and day after I will do these things and then see the subtle space of consciousness. No. Since it's everywhere, it has to be seen here and now. What are the indications given? The indications given are it exists and shines. That is, it is the Sat Chit. It is the Sat Chit. It is the mention of Arunachala in Ashtakam. Irundu olir. Irundu olir. Unaividu taduttidal devam. இருட்டினை விளக்கிடு தடுத்திடலேகான். இருந்தொழில் உனை அறிகிலரெனில் அன்னோர் இரவியின் அறிவரும் குருடரே ஆவர். இருந்தொழில் இரண்டர எனதுளத் தொன்றாய் இணையரும் அருணமா மலையனும் மணியே. So the irundu olir, the existence consciousness, these are the now the objects of consciousness do not shine by themselves. What is the check that we have to do? That we are now seeing the subtle space of, first of all the differences in places gone, all the differences in time gone. Here and now it has to be seen. What is the indication? That it exists and it shines by itself. So anything that does not shine by itself or exist by itself is to be dropped as not the space of consciousness. How to drop them? So all sensory objects, all senses, the breath, then thoughts, and all the earlier things are only thoughts. Therefore, thoughts do not shine by themselves. They shine by the reflected consciousness, I, the Chidabhasa. So whenever a thought arises, we should understand that is definitely not the subtle space of consciousness. It is not Chidambaram. It is not Arunachala, the Irundu Olir. In everywhere, the Tripudi is there. The seer, seeing, seen is there. But in the existence consciousness, the Tripudi is not there. Therefore, it is said euphemistically that it is there everywhere. It's not like that. Everywhere, that is time and space, are present in existence consciousness. Existence consciousness is the base. Time and space, the Tripudi exists in that. Therefore, when they are saying everywhere, it's only for our sadhana, that don't run here and there in this Tripudi. You fix it up here and now and eliminate whatever is shining by some other light. The thoughts are all shining by some other light. The emotions are shining by some other light. Drop them. For whom is this? To me. Who am I? Let that reflected light no more be reflected. Let it be self-attentive. Let it not merely be a bounced light which is interested in seeing other things. Let it know itself. Let it be of the nature of Arunachala, the absolute divine, who has all the Kalyana Gunas. All the Kalyanas are present in Arunachala, the existence consciousness. Be that. What is it to be that? Drop whatever is shining by the reflected light. Thoughts, emotions, breath, senses, sensory objects. For whom is this thought? Again and again, put the attention on the eye till all the vasanas, the proclivities are eliminated. The proclivities arise as the reflected eye interested in other things. The intellect, which is so fine in analyzing the objects, is of absolutely no use in knowing the self. So the intellect has to be taken to the eye, and the eye has to be taken to its source. All the punning and the poetry and the intellect that we use in our intelligent analysis, that is of absolute no use in seeing the subtle space of consciousness. It has to be eliminated by asking, for whom is this thought? Who am I? There, with effort, we hold on to ourselves as existence consciousness. Then that effort, which is due to vasanas, it starts burning itself down, because the vasanas are burnt. When the box of vasanas is completely burnt, then our true nature as the sayujya with the self is naturally realized. Till then, the effort has to be kept up. The effort is not to acquire the gunas or not to go after the objects that are lit by the reflected light, but inquire into that subtle space of consciousness which exists and shines by itself, by inquiring, for whom is this perception of an object? This perception of an object is for me. Who am I? Put the light on yourself. To see yourself, no other light is required. That is the verse. Let us sit in practice for the next 10 minutes. Ujulji, you will help us out again.
Yes, sir.
Namo. Namo Ramana. I request Venkatesh ji to give us the summing up remarks. Namo Ramana, sir.
Namo Ramana. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti, Pujamulam Gurur Padam, Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam, Mokshamulam Gurur Kripa. Namo Ramana. So the two very interesting verses. First verse basically talks about going to, why do you go to school at all? Why do you go to college at all? You go to college or you go to school to learn because there's somebody who knows, because the professor or the teacher knows, and you believe that he knows. That's why you go to a college. And when you learn theory and you learn practice. For example, you learn chemistry, you learn about reaction, and when you go to the lab, you sit down and do those mixing of all the solutions, and you get finally you get to know. So the important thing is the professor already knows. So a jnani already knows. So that's what they say that. But there are some people, because of this whole Google world, they say, I don't need a guru. I can do it everything myself. I can read everything I can read online, and all the knowledge I have, even about experiencing the self, I can read, and I'll have the experience of the self. Now, the spiritual world, it's a little different from the objective world, because this is not about the outside. This is about the inside, and there is nothing that will be told in the books. They'll just give you subtle indicators. Oh, you may become you may become a little quieter. Your mind will become a little less jumpy. It'll be like that. But real experience will happen only when you're in the lab. When you mix those two solutions and you get the blue solution, that's when you say, oh yes, that's what it is. So important thing is, that's what they say, that being in proximity of great ones is very important, because what happens, they give you that knowledge. They're able to take you into their whole stream, by which you are able to uh, your path becomes that much more easier. Your path becomes that much more simpler to be able to realize yourself. Now, this is very important, because many of us, many people who came to Bhagwan, he says, hey, that man is sitting on the chair. What's he doing? He's sitting quietly. What is he? I don't think so. He's a jnani. I think so. People are all sitting in front of him, also sitting quietly. Nobody is doing anything. His understanding is a guru should be continuously talking. He should be doing this, doing that, going all around the world. That's a typical guru. But here is this Ramana who's sitting quietly. So they do not understand that, because they are using their limited mind. When you're using a limited mind, a limited instrument, and trying to find the unlimited, it's virtually impossible. That's why they say that you have to, it's a slow process. Everything is a slow process. So you have to sit with the Guru, and you have to do your own practices. Go on chipping away day in and then day out. And when you are ripe, the fruit will fall off the tree. When you are ripe, you will experience jnana. But for that, you have to keep on going. And a guru is absolutely essential in this journey, as much as a teacher is essential in your school, because otherwise all books are available. First standard books are available, second standard books are available, third standard books are available. Why is a teacher needed? Teacher is not needed. Teacher is needed because he or she knows, and when he or she knows, if you come in contact with the person who knows, then you also get benefited by that, and you also will slowly try and work it through, and also one day get to know. So that's a Very important lesson in the first part. The second one is this is a beautiful example because every, people say Hridaya Kohara Madhye Kevalam Brahma Matram, right? God is sitting in your heart, right? So then, if you are driving at 100 kilometers per hour, God is also traveling at 100 kilometers because He has to keep pace with you, right? He's sitting inside you. He has to keep pace with you. So if you're going, this body is going at 100 kilometers per hour. Where this God also has to go at 100 kilometers per hour so that he can stay inside. Otherwise, he'll fall off. It's like your purse. You know, if you move your pant too much, it'll fall off. So God also. So imagine God is sitting in so many bodies. To some turtles which go slow, and then the leopard goes so fast, and you are going in faster. So all that is a lot of nonsense. We need to understand this. This Satchit Ananda, this consciousness existence, is beautifully said in this. He says the space of consciousness shines and exists everywhere. So what's the nature of Satchidananda Atman? It is there everywhere. So if it's there everywhere, where it's not there, that's what some great ones say that go and do something, eat something where there's nobody. He says I can't because I can't do something wrong at all anywhere because God is there everywhere. He's the Sakshi Bhava. He is watching everything, every thought, word, and action. He is witness to that. So if he is witness to that, this is a very important thing. Again, in our sadhana, we need to understand that consciousness is everywhere. If we are really truly understand this by doing sadhana, by going and understand who we truly are, we are not this body, mind, intellect in time and space, but we are that consciousness which has been there, which is there now, and which will always be there. If we really understand that, then what happens? Then we'll understand. We'll go behind the real thing. It's like I read a joke today. Somebody said, "Oh, does money make you happy?" The people say, "No, no, money cannot make you happy." Oh, yes. Okay, how many people believe that money will make you happy? No, no. Everybody said, "No, money can't make you happy." But this next question he asked is, "Are all of you running behind money or not?" Yes, everybody raised their hands, and we're all running behind money, knowing that money is not going to make you happy. Everybody is running behind money. Look at it. So we are all trying, so that's important thing that we need to understand. Objects are actually not going to, are like what Nandakumar said, don't have the light of their own. It's all borrowed light. So, but we are running behind those objects. And the real stuff, which is actually self-illumined, which is really light by itself, we're not trying to explore that and try to find out who we really are. So important thing that we need to understand in this, the second verse beautifully is the consciousness pervades everywhere, and we don't have to look at it anywhere, but do self-inquiry. Keep going inside. Keep like Bhagavan told Ganapati Muni, go to the source of the I, the mind go, and then just go and merge there. And that's what we need to do. Each one of us has to do. Follow your breath. Go inside. As we go on, going deeper and deeper with the breath, what happens? You will experience that your silence. You will experience that deepness within, and then that you will realize that you are that Satchidananda Atman, and everything is only that. And once you experience that, you are in total joy. There is absolutely no dukkha at all. There is only joy because everything is only you. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana, sir. Thank you so much. May I request Vaibhavji and Prarthnama to start the chanting of Ashtotram?
Yes, sir. Namo Ramana. भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितम् श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योन्निमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि। ॐ महासेन महंसेन जाताय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः। ॐ गुरवे नमः। ॐ अखण्डसंविदाकाराय नमः। ॐ महौजसे नमः। ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः। ॐ जगद्गीतावताराय नमः। ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः। ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः। ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपःफलाय नमः। ॐ कमनीयसुचारित्राय नमः। ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः। ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः। ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः। ॐ श्रीमद्द्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः। ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः। ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः। ॐ तीव्राय नमः। ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः। ॐ इन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः। ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः। ॐ तपोमयाय नमः। ॐ उदासीनाय नमः। ॐ महायोगिने नमः। ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः। ॐ कुशाग्रधिये नमः। ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः। ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः। ॐ सवित्रे नमः। ॐ स्थिराय नमः। ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः। ॐ फुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः। ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः। ॐ च्यूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः। ॐ चूर्णिकाखिलविभ्रमाय नमः। ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः। ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः। ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः। ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः। ॐ विराजदचलाकृतये नमः। ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः। ॐ पूर्णाय नमः। ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः। ॐ गम्भीराय नमः। ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः। ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणास्यनिभाय नमः। ॐ धीराय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः। ॐ स्वराजे नमः। ॐ महर्षये नमः। ॐ भगवते नमः। ॐ ईड्याय नमः। ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः। ॐ विमलाय नमः। ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आप्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्रीशोणाचलहृद्बोधस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्न संशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादकसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ ऋचान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरणाद्बन्धमोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तस्थिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः। ॐ संसारार्णवतारकाय नमः। ॐ षोडादशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः। ॐ भारतविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमण भगवते नमः। श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनाम पूजां समर्पयामि। यस्थानोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्याजनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रह सुप्रवाह विवश सादात्म्यभावं गतः ऋन्निष्ठः स्वगभीर नित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनासेकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नम इदं लोकोत्तर ज्योतिषे। ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि दर्शन सुख मंगल मुख सकल जीव हित सम्मुख ब्रह्म संगिये नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि सदा तुष्ट सदा हृष्ट सदा शिवानंद पुष्ट परम महर्षि ब्रह्मनिष्ठ समदर्शि नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि ನಮ್ಮ ಮನವದೊಂದು ಕಾಡು ನೀನರಿತಿಹೆ ಅದರ ಜಾಡು ಹಿತವನರಿತು ನೀಡು ತೆಮ್ಮ ಕೊರೆಯ ತಣಿಸಲೈ ಬೇಡಲೆಂದು ಬಂದ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿಯೇ ತಣಿವೆವಯ್ಯ ಮೋಡಿಗಾರನೇ ಮೋಡಿಗಾರನೇ ಹಿತವ ನುಡಿದು ಪೊರೆ ನಮ್ಮನು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸಂಗಿಯೇ ನಮೋ 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 ರಮಣ ಸದಾಶಿವ ಪ್ರಭಾವರಣ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ.
नमो रमण सर ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ नमो रमण।
बोलो भगवान श्री रमण महर्षि की जय। नमो रमण।